Hey, it's Matt, and this is my YouTube channel. There are many like it, but this one's mine. Took the day off yesterday to finish building the PC that I was kind of talking about in the last video, to build or not to build. And I'm just kind of looking at the amount of time that I spent during the actual build, with help, by the way. And just want to follow up on that a little bit. Not that it's done and it's working, everything's great. I'm very thankful that nothing went wrong, that everything's functioning the way that it should, getting acceptable, levels of heat dissipation, and he says the performance on the thing is great, but for $2,700 it should be. That said, I still think that this is just for myself, in the camp of I would still order rather than build. Because, again, strictly for myself, a couple of factors that come into play here. One, again, this is strictly for me. One of my anti-rejection medicines that I take for my kidney transplant gives me a bit of a shake. And when you're working with small screws and small plugs and connectors and things like that, it's just really interesting to look at your hand and see it. You're struggling to get this tiny little part in place, and you see your hand kind of like, it doesn't really impact me in much other than like really fine tuning small delicate operations, but it's noticeable and it's there, and it definitely does impact me in things like that. Mounting the board, putting jumpers in, putting fan plugs in, etc., etc. Pain in the butt, just with my hand shaking the way that they are. It was difficult. The other negative I ran into is, again, it's it could be part of it's old age. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I should have glasses. In fact, I've got a appointment coming up to get the old eyes looked at. So hopefully, pretty quick here we'll get that resolved so I can see a little better. But I originally started building the PC on the kitchen table where I thought the light would be sufficient, but once it started to get a little dark outside, it quickly became evident that it wasn't. So then I moved down into the basement to an area that I had specifically built to work on computers. And in the process of doing the work on this massive case and this massive system, I quickly realized that my layout was just bad. I put some things backwards. I built my desk backwards, basically. And again, I didn't have the lighting that I needed to do what I wanted to do effectively. So now that the build is done, I'm going to go back down there and I'm going to revisit my desk and I think flip things around so that I've got a decent amount of light shining in the area where if I do need to get inside of a computer and actually do some work, I will be able to see. So again, it's just, I look at the amount of time that I spent in the build. Granted, it was it was an experience. It was nice to know that I still haven't lost my touch and I can still do it. That said, the amount of time I spent, for myself, I'd much rather order a computer, have it shipped here, unbox it, plug it in, and go, rather than spending the time building. When the possibility exists that if something goes wrong, you're now troubleshooting everything that you've done, which could lead into, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work, versus you buy a PC and something doesn't work, you box it back up and you send it and you get a different one because you've got a warranty that covers it for whatever. So again, for myself, I think that, barring something changing, I will be buying from now on. I don't see the allure in the building process anymore. I don't The other thing is, it's like I'm past the point in my life where I need dozens of different colored fans and all the bells and whistles that you can do with a custom build. Just don't care. The electric bill's it's expensive enough as it is. I don't need to be powering unnecessary color things. So again, for myself, it's like my next PC is just gonna be a bought. I will, maybe I'll buy a video card or something by itself to slot in if I can, save some money that way. But it just felt like a lot of time that I could have actually been computing rather than building. But like I said, thankfully everything worked, because I would still be troubleshooting. And it's not fun when you're dealing with unfamiliar components that, because you bought them as components, you're responsible for making the whole thing work together. Whereas if you order a Dell, it comes built. You just plug it in and you go. And if it doesn't work, you send it back. So those are my thoughts based on my experience finishing the build. I do need to do some work down in the lab to make the lab a little bit more bright and laid out in a more thoughtful manner, so I can actually work inside of a PC moving forward. But it was an interesting experience, and it's nice to know that I still have the touch, even though my hands are twitchy. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I will catch you next time. Peace.